Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 294 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. We are very excited because it is Keeneland opening day this Friday. I got my Keeneland gear on. I got my new Crownsway Racing hat. We'll talk about why I'm wearing that in just a minute. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. After you do that, hit the notification bell so that you know when new content will arise. And boy, do we have a lot of content this week. And make sure you smash that like button, which will send everyone to this podcast. You can follow me there on my name tag. Whoops, right up. Let's see if I can do it. There it is, right there. At H Kravitz on Twitter. And of course, email me hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. You can see right there our live shows. We've got tomorrow night, Benton and Boozin', 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, covering the unbelievable Saturday Keeneland card. And then we have our brand new Keeneland Today morning shows, 10:30 Eastern a.m. Saturday and Sunday. We're all about Keeneland here this week, along with a lot of other shows. Tomorrow night, Ben Boozin's talking about Belmont. We're going to do a bunch of taped shows also. So if you're used to our live shows, awesome. But if you are listening, watching, please go to the YouTube channel. We're going to have a bunch of taped shows, shorter taped shows on San Anita, Woodbine. There's a plethora of stake races this weekend as Breeders' Cup prep. So make sure you check out the channel and watch those taped shows as well. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Power Picks. Keeneland only Power Picks now on sale. We have full meet, which is every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is 9 cards. We also have individual weekend. If you only want, for example, this weekend, or you want to at least check it out first and see what it's like, you can buy only this weekend. Monday through Thursdays, you can buy the 1 weekend only package. The full meet, all 9 cards, is only available until Thursday midnight Eastern time. Please look below the video player. It's inexpensive. It's profitable. Myself, Pete, and Paul are writing them all. Pick 5 grids, ABCs, all turf, $3 pick 3 analysis. There's a lot of spot plays, price plays, the whole gamut. Check it out. Then we also have our regular Power Picks on Patreon.com as usual on Saturdays. Again, the Keeneland only Power Picks, by the way, are through our website. You can see there on the screen or look down below the video player. Speaking of our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. And finally, we are on Instagram, instagram.com/HHH Racing Podcast. Special thanks to Noah Maher of our Ben and Boozin show and also Pete Visco. They're both working on our Instagram page. Again, instagram.com/HHH Racing Podcast. All right. That takes care of all the particulars. We got a lot to discuss. Let's not waste any more time. Let me bring in my wonderful co-host first from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Saratoga Special. And this gentleman hopefully has a runner at Keeneland also this weekend. We'll talk about that. Mr. Paul Halloran, and from the East Coast of Maryland and proud co-owner of a horse for all of us that we're going to talk about here to start the show that is definitely running on Sunday, Mr. Pete Visco. Guys, I would say it's like Christmas in October, but for yours truly, it's more like Hanukkah, first night of Hanukkah. It's Keeneland, guys. Boy, do I love this fall meet. It's short but sweet, gentlemen. Hello.
Hey, fellas. What's up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I know it's not necessarily Saratoga, Paul, but this is, for me, this is the next best thing. And I do very well at this meet. I don't know why. Saratoga is very difficult, and I struggled this summer along with a lot of people with all the rain and scratches, and it's just really hard. Keeneland's no picnic either, but somehow it seems slightly more formful, but you can get prices also, $3 pick 3s, people like Jim Goodman, an unbelievable track that usually runs fair, weather usually decent. It's one of my favorite meets, Paul. I'll speak for myself.
Well, certainly the spring meet is I'm a big fan of, and no, I've been betting Keeneland, as you can imagine, for many many years. It just took me a while to get there last spring, and there was a chance I was going to be there next week, but it just didn't work out. But
All right.
I will be back. I will be back in April, and
Wonderful. Defend your title.
I'm looking forward to. This meet. I mean, as you said, it's like Saratoga split into two. Half in the fall and half in the spring. That's all.
Pete, you have not been to Keeneland, but when you think about Keeneland racetrack or its two big meets, spring and fall, what comes to mind right away for you?
Well, I mean, you just know this one is great because it's basically it's part of the last shot of Breeders' Cup prep races. So for me, you get excited because you're going to see these horses one final time and they're going to be in some pretty competitive fields. And we're seeing that throughout already this weekend's cards coming up. And I mean, that's like that around other tracks as well, but Keeneland is pretty stacked.
Yeah, and by the way, Sunday's card is great too. Got a little Nest versus Idiomatic versus, I think Secret Oath is in there too. I can't recall, maybe not. Anyway, the cards all weekend are tremendous. Let's talk to some people really quick. Steven Vanderbrook, please smash that like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Right now, we only have 8. I'm looking on my YouTube page here on my other 8. Come on, people, smash that like button. Help us out. Maiden Focus, what's up? Hey, kids, how we doing, Maiden? Glad you're here. Let's see what else we got here. Pete and Maiden are having their own personal conversation. Okay, I like it. Guys, before we get into the pick 5 very quickly, I got to bring this up. Sunday, race 8. Everyone on the screen, plus Kyle Roscoe, has a small piece of a horse. Hold your hats, boys and girls. That is running in a $250,000 stake race. A little more than Paul won in the Grade 1 Gamble. Not much, though. $250,000 stake race for the boys. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. We're going to talk a little bit more with Caleb Keller, guys, who's coming on our show Thursday from FanDuel. But I'll just show everyone right now. Here, I don't have the race because I didn't bring it up on the present. So here it comes right now. I'll show everyone the race very quickly. We're not going to break it down. There it is, guys. There's our horse. Very excited. It's in the Indian Summer. Race 8 from the rail. Shards. Boom. Right there for Kelsey Danner and Adam Bishiza. Paul, your very, very 10-second quick thoughts. I think he fits. He's got to step up a little bit on the buyers, but there's no killers in here.
No, we talked about it before he came on the air. He put up a 70 last time, and that really fits. The horse that I think is going to be the favorite right next to him has a 71, 72, and a 71. Yeah. There's a 77 floating around out there and a 78, but I agree. And again, very impressive last time coming from, I guess you'd say he ran like a 3 to 5 short should. He was fairly well back in a short field, but, went from 5th out of 6 to winning by 5. So he was much the best in that race. And, a few horses have run back and not done really much coming out of that race, but hopefully he breaks that trend.
Absolutely. And Pete, I don't know if if he wins, that'd be crazy. And for those people at home that don't know, I will be at Keeneland this weekend. So will Kyle Roscoe. So will Noah Maher, because Noah goes to school at the University of Kentucky. So 3 of the HHH Racing podcast crew will be there. I'm actually going to get there Saturday, guys. I have to work Friday, but I will be there. My plane literally gets in at post time Saturday, so I'll be a little bit late. But Pete, I don't know if Shards wins would be crazy. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint?
I mean, why not? I mean,
let's go. Let's do
it. That's always a race that, it's pretty wide open generally. So, hey, if he runs well, the only weird thing about him is, and I was looking at the PPs and Beskiza was up, 4 different jockeys in 4 different races. So it'd be nice to get one that sort of gets to know him a little bit. But other than that, I think he's got a pretty good shot.
Yeah. What's up, Penn State Scott? How are you? Listen, everyone should, if you're obviously you're a fan of the show, if you're watching, cheer us on Sunday, race 8, the number 1 Shards, who's going to be, more lines are not out yet. I'm guessing like 6-1, guys. I don't know. And I don't see any reason
he looked like third choice. I'd say like third choice, Paul. What do you think? Maybe like third.
Yeah, I'd say I think Howard's pretty accurate. I think the 2 is going to be the favorite.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, guys, this is called a telephone. I could just call Nick Tamero right now and say, Nick, please make sure it's 15-1 so we get a better price. Nick Tamero, friend of myself, friend of the show, does the morning lines at Keeneland. So, anyways, we're going to move on to the big card on Friday, but very exciting for all of us with
We'll be talking about that
Indian
sequence as well on our Sunday Keeneland Today show. So stay tuned.
And who's hosting that show Sunday, Pete?
That would be me. So we will
Wonderful.
be talking about that show, about that
right.
race on the show. That is in the late pick 5. So beautiful. Right before you could double up right into the Spinster. So
there you go. You have to pick shards, by the way. It's a law. I think it's
that's a law.
I believe it's in the Constitution. I don't
even need to handicap the race. I am not, I am not like some of us on this show who pick against our horses. I go down with the ship if necessary.
Speaking of our horses, Copper Missile also ran Saturday. He's just a big boy. He's a little bit pace. I'm not sure what he's going to do next. I thought he ran okay, but we're going to move on, guys, because this is not the talk about horses that the podcast has show. People want to know about Keeneland on Friday, but it is very exciting to see some horses run in big spots for sure. Look who's here, Matt Miller. Your horse is in a $250,000 win.
We wish it were a win and you're in.
It's actually not a win and you're in, Matt. It is not a win and you're in. Just let you know. But are we still betting it? Hell yeah. I mean, I'm going to be there, Matt. Are you kidding me? I got to put a win bet on this horse.
I'm sure a couple of us on this screen will find a way. Even if he wins, I'm sure we'll find a way to mess up the race somehow or mess up the sequence, Paul. So at least we have one lock, hopefully, in there.
All right, let's talk about the pick 5, guys. Pick 5 Friday, opening day. Weather has been very warm and sunny throughout the Midwest. And, of course, a little rain Thursday, and it's going to be much cooler. It is going to be dry, apparently, so not worried about anything, any wetness going on or any scratches, but it is going to be in like the low 60s. I know, poo-poo, right? Low 60s in Lexington. It's actually their coolest summer or coolest weather they've had all year, but that's fine. I'll take that over rain any day because we've seen enough rain. Let's go ahead and go to the pick 5, guys. That starts on Friday, opening day, at Keeneland. Starts about 3:40 Eastern and starts in race 6. And of course starts with a very difficult main special weight filly, 2-year-old fillies. But we can see the board, which is nice. It is a monster field of 12. There's also 2 eligibles in there. The morning line favorite is the number 9, Tammy Lynn for Stall and Saez. I thought not only is this race very difficult, but I thought this race, I feel bad for Nick Tamero, Paul, because I don't know how the hell you make morning lines for this field. Let me go ahead and bring up the banners right now. And, of course, this is the first time Pete and Paul are seeing the picks. Let's see if anyone's got that 9 on top. And we've got to have a lot of different horses, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen. And, no, actually, Howard and Pete, myself and Pete, we have the same 3 horses. And I'm assuming we did this before the morning lines. That's not even the right PPs, by the way. Hold on a second. I'm assuming we did this before the morning lines, guys. And Pete, you and I have the exact same 3 horses, which is pretty crazy. Paul, let's go to you first. You're going to go with the 2 Bourbon Breeze. And there's a lot to dig in here, guys. So we're going to talk about this race for a little bit longer than normal. Paul, you're going with Bourbon Breeze. This is a Omaha Beach filly out of a Malibu Moon mare. Costs $200,000 for Riley Mott. We don't have clocker reports for Keeneland, which was a real bummer. Just to let everyone know, there are free workouts on the Keeneland website that they will post usually 24 hours in advance. It's not every horse. It's not very detailed, but they do give a few workouts of some horses. It's a little bit of an issue in this meet. That's my only negative with Keeneland is we don't get clocker reports for Keeneland. That being said, Paul, it's an Omaha Beach, costs $200K. Bullet works. Certainly you'd think would be live.
Yeah, it's good to see Riley Mott getting a $200,000 horse. This point in his career, he's had 10 starts in dirt sprints. 2-year-old first-time starters in dirt sprints. He's 1 for 10. Omaha Beach is winning with 23% of his 2-year-old first-time starters.
Yep. There it is.
This
right
horse
there.
is,
you guys can see it right there. Yep.
Yes.
It's a little small on the screen. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
This horse has been working at the training center at Churchill put up 4 bullets in a row. There's not a tremendous amount of horses working there, but still, creditable works. And picks up Irad and Ron Anderson. Not Ron Anderson. Oh God, help me! It's been a long week and it's only Tuesday. I'll get back to Irad's agent in a second.
Okay. Steve
not
Russian?
putting him. Yeah, I think so. Yes,
Steve Russian. Right?
Not putting him on. There's a lot of places to go in a race like this, and I think it's a good sign that he lands here. I'm 5 deep in the pick 5, so I did have a hard time narrowing down to 1, but he is where I landed.
So, Pete, I'm a little conflicted with this horse. I have this horse 3rd, and we all deep dive. You have this horse on top also. Here's my conflict, Pete. And let's go back to the breeding. This is very important. This is a great thing about Formulator, everyone. This is why I love DRF Formulator. Average winning distance for the Omaha Beaches, 6 furlongs. Now, this is a first crop sire, right? So obviously a lot of these horses, Pete, have not gone long. So this really shouldn't be much of a surprise when you see these AWD, average winning distance, sprinting, because most of his progeny have sprinted, right? A lot of them haven't gone long because they're 2-year-olds. But here's my issue, Pete, and I'm assuming you guys looked at this too. The dam side is very long-winded. So Malibu Pride only ran 1 race, but the average winning distance on the dam side is a mile. And although there were some decent horses, they were turf and they were long. So I'm sure this horse is live, but I'm slightly concerned on the dam side, not really precocious.
Yeah, and honestly, though, as I went through most of these, I had sort of similar. There were similar times, and it's always harder with the dam too, especially if you only have like in that when there were only 2 horses. So sometimes you just don't know. Maybe there's just a bad horse. Maybe this is just a better horse. Maybe the top side will help with that. It's really hard to figure that out. But I agree with you. And Riley Mott, he 1 for 25 first time starters. So that's not the greatest thing in the world either.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. If you go up and down this field, there were a lot from a either breeding or trainer statistical standpoint that were knocks and good. So you had a little bit of both on a lot of these horses. So, I mean, I like the fact that Irad chose, like Paul said, that helps. But I had 6 A's when I went through this field. So I think this field's wide open. So
Pete's starting to meet with a $3,000 pick 5.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to play them all as A's, but that was when I labeled them. I was like, I got 6. That's not going to work for our $100 ticket.
Main focus again. People have seen him on this show in the chat. He's an excellent handicapper and has a lot of intel. Let me mention what Main Focus said. He said, I noticed Riley Mott mentioned on Twitter that Maiden, first of all, Riley Mott is a man, just to let you know. But we get the point. Yeah, let's have a drink in honor of Maiden Focus. Are we allowed to do that? Have a drink for our viewers? Misgendering? Sure. Why not, right? And it's misgender of a human. What does that mean, Paul? Should I have like a shot or something, or just I don't know what that does.
You should have some oats.
It's harder. Right. It's actually easier to misgender the humans because it doesn't have the M or the F or whatever next to it. The horses, we see it right in front of us.
That's true.
So we should know that better.
All right, let me get to the point. We digress. Riley Mott said that he had an unraced 2-year-old filly that he liked. That one was a bay filly with a star on her forehead, though. Not a chestnut, so not Bourbon Breeze. So what Maiden Focus is saying that apparently this is not the one that Riley Mott really liked. I'd have to go. I'm sure Maiden Focus is correct on that. And yes, that is correct. Bill has 2 sons, right, Paul? I believe.
I believe so.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that. And I don't know if he has a daughter. I don't want to say, but I'm pretty sure he has 2 sons. Anyway, Bourbon Breeze is conflicting, Pete. We're going to see. Let the board tell, right, Pete? Plain and simple.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty, like you said, it's the beauty of having this in the first leg is we can get because even when before the morning lines, I don't know if you guys, like you see a Cox and Pratt horse that, unraced and the works don't really give you much, but at 10-1, you see that, you never know. So you figure some of these connections are going to take money just based on connections. So it's nice to see that in the first leg.
Guys, I spent about half an hour in this race, so I think people at home would appreciate at least giving a little bit of intel very briefly. I'm just going to pour through the field, guys, very quickly. Feel free to throw in anything you want. Pour some wisdom. Tim Ham can win first out. He's a sharp guy. This horse has been breezing well and with bullets, but I don't like the rail personally, guys. So I'm against the one mainly because of the rail. Caroline Candy, I want to mention John Innes is not great first time out, but guys, once in a while he sneaks in a winner in the spring usually. This Twirling Candy filly is working very well. I think this horse is going to outrun her odds. She's got some bullet works, guys. And I'm actually a little bit interested in the 3. I've got the 3 in the mix. Either one of you look at the 3 at all? 20 to 1.
That was one of my. That's one of my 6As. Was the 3.
Okay, there you go.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I don't like Pinup Betty personally. Silverly Moon looks slow based on the breeding. Plain Champagne's gonna take money, but I don't know. She was very slow with the buyer first time out. First time out, excuse me. Circling for Motion. He's not known with his 2-year-old first time out, guys. Correct?
10% with 2-year-old dirt sprinters, first time starters.
Yeah, and the dam was really nothing special. Dropped a few horses, but again, mainly long and on the turf. So I wasn't really a big fan of the 8. Let's talk about Tammy Lynn, guys. I have Tammy Lynn second. We all have Tammy Lynn in the mix. Main question: Albert Stahl, line 2. Why was this horse on turf first time, sir? That's my question, guys. I don't get it.
That is a damn good question, Howard. That is a good question because I have written on my PPs here, better on dirt ? I guess we're going to get the answer to that. Although I'll tell you what, that was certainly not a bad effort.
No, it was a good effort.
Did he want to run her shorter than 6? I don't know. It's closing weekend. Did he just want to get a race into her and he couldn't get her in a dirt race?
She worked really well.
Well, the works have been great on the dirt, right? Yeah, look at those works.
Maybe she just couldn't get into a dirt race. I don't know. It's weird. This horse to me could like win by 5 or be out of the money. I don't know what to do with this horse. It's just weird. I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking it.
Hard to leave off the ticket though, just because
look
you
what
don't
we did,
know.
Pete. We already tired Paul out in the first 10 minutes of the show.
I mean, it's Tuesday.
It's only Tuesday, Paul. We got a long week.
The return of Louis Saez, which is good news, by the way. Louis, who was injured at Saratoga, and it's good to see him back in this race.
Let's end our conversation with the 11. And Pete, I was so happy because I have mad respect for both you guys. I was so happy that one of you thought the 11 could be a factor here. And I handicapped this after the morning lines. And I get the 12 to 1, Pete, because she's been working slow. But as I look through this field, all I saw on the dam side, as you said, Paul, was want to go long, wants to be turf, wants to go long, wants to go turf. And then, Pete, you jump into this 11, Easy Street, by Munnings out of a Carson City mare. And boy, you see the dam was fast. And you look at the siblings, 6 out of 11, the siblings have won, 2 for 6 first-time starters. The average wing distance is very sprinty. The siblings were good. Win the War was precocious. Union City was precocious early. Most City was pretty good early. It just feels like this is one that's meant to be good early. I'm not overly concerned with the work speed because Mark Cassidy doesn't work his horses fast. I wish some of the works were quicker. But it's Tyler G. I have a feeling this horse is going to be quick. It's just a guess, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know that. But again, I'm with you on even on obviously Munnings is fine, 18% dirt sprints, decent with 2-year-old first-time starters. Dam side, 7 for 10 wins with 2-year-olds, 35% in dirt sprints. So there's a lot going on there that just feel right, especially if you're taking a shot with a double-digit horse. The one odd stat I saw was Mark Cassey with DJ Stable as the owners is 1 for 22 with first-time starters on dirt, but I don't know what the hell that means when it's the owners. That's a little strange sometimes. So, but again, when you're digging into first-time starters, you try and find any angle you could possibly come up with. But I'm curious to see how this one's going to run. But there is potentially enough speed in here to where if this one isn't, maybe on the top line of speed, maybe sits off, and we'll see. The hardest thing for first timers is passing horses sometimes, but looks like there could be some speed in here, at least based on some of the works.
This 11 is completely Easy Street. It's completely a board horse. And usually when we say a board horse, we mean hitting the board. In this case, I mean see the odds of the board. Because if this one's like 8-10 to 1, I won't be interested. If this one is like 9 to 2 or taking some sneaky money, look out. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next race. But a fascinating and I'm sure people at home, some people at least, Paul, will say, this is a cluster. I'm just going to skip the race and play the pick 4. I get it. I completely get it. But you also, if you beat the 9 in this race, I think you can get a price here, Paul. And there's enough precocity with some of these horses, like the 11 potentially, where you could start with like a 7-8 to 1 to start a difficult pick 5 and really be alive. So it's going to be interesting, guys. Let's move on to the next race as I go and pull it up on the screen right now. Here we go, guys. Now we've got 3 win-in-your-ins. 3 win-in-your-ins for the Breeders' Cup on Friday at Keeneland. Here's the first one. It's the Stoll, Keenan, Ogden, Phoenix Stakes, Grade 2. I have a story about this race, which I'll tell in just a few minutes. 6 furlongs for the boys, 350,000, a big field of 11. Again, this is a win and you're in. Let me go ahead and take the banners off and bring up the next race. There's the banners for the next race right there. We are all over the place in this race. The Moorline favorite is the number 7, Bango, Foley, and Gaffleon. As I bring you guys back on screen, of all the races we're going to handicap today, I think my strongest opinions are in this race. And I'll get to reasons why, but I'll let you, well, listen, Paul, I could be wrong. I could be right. Who the hell knows? But by the way, speaking of being right, we're all right and wrong. More Than Looks last weekend at Churchill. Wow. Winning that 3-year-old turf race, that was very, very impressive, Paul and Pete. I don't know if you guys saw that, but wow.
Looked great. Just my style too, rolling from off the pace. Oh. Just my style.
And guys, Patrick Kunzel and I were there at Keeneland actually we were all there that weekend. That was the race I was supposed to run, and the thunderstorm came. It didn't stop raining, and then eventually, I was there. They eventually did not run that race, or they stopped the card, if I recall, that day. So anyway, More Than Looks looked great in the paddock that day and ran a big race on Saturday at Keeneland. Anyway, at Churchill. Here's the race, guys. There's a lot of things to talk about here. Pete, we're going to go to you first. You've got the 4, who I have absolutely nowhere, which is fascinating. And Paul's got this horse second. So maybe I'm missing something. Gulfstream Way for Norm Cassie and Santana. Hit it, Pete.
Honestly, I don't trust most of the horses in this race, and I thought the only thing with Gulfstream Way, and I'm looking for a price, and this is another one where I could go pretty deep if the budget allowed for it. But with Gulfstream Way, the couple things that I liked were I liked some tactical ability, so should be able to sit hopefully pretty close to the pace and then get either first run or at least pounce and be in the mix. I like the fact that this horse is improving. If you look back at the prior trainer when it was under Rachel Sells, was just pretty awful. Then you get the trainer switch. Cassie picks this horse up, and it's an immediate turnaround. And then 2 and 3 back, you paired up Buyer Tops, which we like. Got the improvement in the last one. Was right on Bango, who's obviously is the favorite. I think the favorite we said, right? Bango was right on Bango. Has run well with Santana. Santana and Cassie have some excellent stats together. Now, it's a pretty big class jump. Obviously, that class jump last time into the 300K stakes was a big one, and I thought he met that pretty well, and I thought it put him right in the mix. So at a price where I really don't care that much, I think Bango's vulnerable away from Churchill. I figure I'll take an 8-1 shot in a race where I think it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, I have zero arguments for anything you said, Pete. I definitely think you should go somewhat price shopping in this race. I always want to point out our new people in the chat. Jeannie Rhett. Jeannie, welcome to the show. Jeannie likes Tammy Lynn in that last race. Lock it in, the 9-horse. Jeannie, thanks for joining the show. Don't be a stranger. And we love especially our female viewers as well and chatters. So thanks, Jeannie. We got Bedry's back, guys. Bedry, Oak Day is here. What's up, Bedry? How you doing? You sort of agree, Paul. You got this horse second. Listen, he's improving. He almost beat Bango. If you think Bango is a factor, which you guys do, what's wrong with this horse at 8-1? And I got a feeling you might get more than 8-1, guys, on Saturday. I really do with this horse. I'm thinking double digits, Paul.
I think this race is begging for a horse that's on the improve. I think there's several horses in here with back numbers. I ended up picking the 1. We could talk about him later. Bango is just unbeatable at Churchill, but you know what? Really hasn't run. He's 0 for 2 at Keeneland, but he has run okay at other places, and he really, really is in form. But this horse, and this horse, as you point out, but if we think Bango is going to be the favorite, Bango's 5-2 in the morning line. This horse lost to him by a head, and it's 8-1.
Yep.
So I think that Pete mentioned the combo of Cassie and Santana. I just think this race is begging for a horse that it could emerge. I didn't pick him. I believe I picked him second, but he'll be squarely in the middle of my action.
You're going with Hoist the Gold. This is a very talented but inconsistent 4-year-old colt by Mineshaft, and I'll let you talk about him. I'm assuming, well, actually, I don't know if you think he's going to come from off the pace. In my personal opinion, his best chance is to come from off the pace. He's going to save ground. He's got JR. There's some definitely things to like. I don't like 3 for 23, though, Paul. I just want to mention that.
No, the 3 for 23, and, you got to just hope. And I will say Del Mar is one of those tracks that we've talked about this, I think, already before, but it's one of those tracks that some horses just don't like it. And if you don't believe me, look at Arrogate's PPs.
Right.
So if you take those two, if I'm gonna hope that's the case with this horse. Other than that, I mean, the Met Mile, forget the Met Mile. He's in a mile over his head. But ran second to Cody's Wish at Churchill. I saw that race. He ran very well. Ran second by a neck in the Commonwealth back at Keeneland in the spring. Again, this is a class pick for me. And I don't think he's going to be 8-1, but I think with his back class and as you point out, Johnny V, I get like 5-1 in this horse. I'm willing to roll the dice.
Back to back, nice works too, Paul. Back to those last two.
Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, Paul, you were lauding the praises of Hoist the Gold and didn't see the comment on the bottom of the screen from Matt Miller. Paul sees those Cody Wish lines, the PPs, and the story, all automatically going to Hoist the Gold. Guys, here's my.
Yeah.
Oh, go
True.
ahead.
No, that's fair.
Guys, here's my opinion. I'm going full screen just for emphasis. I looked at this race and I saw horses that are low morning lines, which I agree with, by the way, from Nick Tamro, that I don't like. Bango is unbelievable. He's a Breeders' Cup horse at Churchill. He's good outside of that, but not great. I just have our time. He's going to transfer that same kind of effort to Keeneland. Sibelius, the number 3. Let's talk about some other horses we haven't mentioned yet. Sibelius is fast, was fast. I don't know what to expect from him. He was unbelievable in the winter, and now he's gone off the rails and he's off a layoff. I don't know. There's Bango.
Well, Howard, he might. Some horses don't recover from the Dubai trip.
No, they don't.
And this guy looks like one of them.
Right. Here's Bango, who's honest, but can win. But I don't want him at 5-2. I mean, I don't know. He's much better. Nakatomi guy is going to take a lot of money. But here's the thing, and Pete, you've got him second. Paul, you don't have him in the mix. First of all, if the track comes up dry, he's not nearly as good. He's much better when it's wet, number 1. Number 2, he's much better guys going 7, in my opinion. He doesn't get there going 6. So this horse is IRAD. It's Wesley Ward. It's Nakatomi. He's not going to be 4-1. He's going to be 3-1. It's 5-2. I don't like this horse at all going 6 in this spot. So what did I do? I'm trying to find the now horse, like you said, Paul. To me, the now horse is this one. I'm going with the Minnesota bred. The Minnesota bred Dr. Oscar. Yeah, sure, I love Canterbury Park, guys. I mean, I'm a little bit biased. I get it. But here's what I did, guys. I had a little conversation. I'm a little blurry. Sorry. But I had a little conversation with a lot of people at Canterbury. Tim Padilla, the trainer of Dr. Oscar. Let me go full screen. The plan all along, guys, was to come here after he had that monster 102 buyer. So even in July, they are planning on going to this race. They're bringing in Quinones, who's an excellent jockey who rides this horse. Now, look, I understand it's a step up in class and it's not Canterbury. I get all that. Guys, this horse is fast. I mean fast. And the other fast horses are coming off of layoffs or used to be good or blah, blah, blah. Guys, if Dr. Oscar breaks and gets the lead or is just outside the lead versus some questionable horses, I see no reason why this horse can't win. I didn't think he'd be 7-2. I thought Nick would put him more like 6-1, 8-1. I get it. This horse is very, very live to me. I really like Dr. Oscar. I think this is the speed of the speed, guys. I think this horse is really, and he's been in open company before. I mean, he almost beat Sibelius guys at Tampa in the winter. It's not like he hasn't faced good horses. That's my top choice.
I mean, it's 7-2, so it's not, it's 7-2, so it's not like you're not breaking ground here. But yeah, I think the toughest part is he has to get the lead. If he doesn't get the lead, he doesn't pass horses. He loses ground. Every time he's not on the lead, he loses ground. And that was my biggest concern because there are other fast horses inside of him, but he is to the outside. So from the outside, he gets to dictate. Does he want to try and rush up and clear? If he can, great, right? I mean, if he gets to the lead, he's hard to catch, man. Padilla's never even hit the board with a horse at Keeneland, but this is probably the best one he's brought, I assume, by far. So you can throw that out. But, it's always something to mention because it is coming from, when he did take Dr. Oscar to Oaklawn, he couldn't win. He won at Tampa, but he struggled a little bit even at Tampa for the most part, aside from the one win. So I guess there's questions which make sense with a horse that's classing up like this, but this field kind of stinks. It's not a grade 2 race. It's
not the best field, and I like
it's not a grade 2.
I like the fact that they brought him down and worked him over Keeneland's strip this week. I like that too. Real quick, because I'm going a little long-winded here. I think Maniwa is fascinating, guys. I'm surprised you don't have this horse anywhere. Wayne Catalano knows how to win this race. 2 years ago, I was sitting literally right next to him in this race when he had Maniwa actually won this race last year, but 2 years ago he had a horse called Aloha West. Remember that horse? Aloha West, who won the Breeders' Cup. I was sitting right next to Catalano, broke his heart. He slammed his hand against the railing when he lost by an inch, but he ended up going to the Breeders' Cup anyway and was very happy a month later. This horse is great off layoffs, Pete. I know that's something you talk about a lot. When you look at layoffs, go back and look at Maniwa. Great off layoffs. There's plenty of speed. I know he's 7. He's pointed to this race. Lannery knows how to save ground. I think he's very interesting here. Those are my 2 top choices. We're going to move on. I'm just against the Nakatomis and the Bangos and the obvious horses, and you guys sort of are too. It's a fun race.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's a tough race. Sure.
Howard, I'll tell you one thing. If Tim Padilla was planning on coming to this race 3 months ago, he could not have planned on getting a relatively easier field than he got.
I think so. Yeah. Paul, you're a historian, right? You're pretty well read when it comes to horse racing. Would you agree?
I'm more well written than I'm well read, but go ahead.
Fair enough. All right. And Pete hates these kind of questions. No, just kidding. Pete likes history too. Here's a question, guys. Dr. Oscar is a Minnesota bred, right? I did a little research. How many Minnesota breds have run in a Breeders' Cup race? Not one, have run in a Breeders' Cup race. How many Minnesota breds? What would be your guess? Paul, what's your first?
3.
3. Pete?
2.
Everyone at home, how many Minnesota breds have run in the Breeders' Cup? This is the 40th. This is year 40, I think. This is the 40th year of the Breeders' Cup. I'm going to let some comments come in. How many Minnesota breds have run in a Breeders' Cup race? Because if the doctor makes a house call on Friday, guys, we're going to see a Minnesota bred in the Breeders' Cup. I see 1, 1, 0. No idea from the well-spoken, well-read, written main focus. 8. Michael Austin says
I'm going to take the under on Michael's. Yeah, I'm going to take the under on Mike's.
Half?
Yes.
Does that say 1/2 for Penn State?
It means he was scratched.
or was eased and never finished.
The answer,
Minnesota bred.
1. The horse was named Booley, ran in the juvenile fillies. It was, of course, it was only dirt then. In 1992 at Gulfstream, trained. Get this, Paul. Minnesota bred, 1992, trained by Angel Penna Jr. How about that? Oh. And not only that, guys, this Minnesota bred Booley with a B never actually ran a Canterbury. So there you go. A little trivia.
Well, where did the horse finish? You're burying the lead here.
Where did the horse finish? Finished 9th.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. Sorry. No, I don't think so. Okay.
Okay, she finished.
Because that's important. That's important.
Which is higher than this guy will finish if he gets in this year. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, we want him in there. He can knock heads with. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was going to say we want them. He's got some speed. He can knock heads with Echo Zulu and
he'll definitely be keeping up with Echo Zulu.
The winner, by the way, 92 was a horse named Eliza for the Paulsons, for Alan Paulson. Anyway, there you go. That race was at Gulfstream. I even watched the replay just out of curiosity. All right, guys, let's move on here. Let's move on to the next race. The Phoenix is a great race. The next race, another win and you're in, guys. Race 8, the Jessamine. Boy, this race, oof. Very difficult. Grade 2 for the girls on the turf. Mile and a 16th, 350,000, field of 11. Morning line favorite is the number 2, Time to Dazzle, who lived up to her name in her only race. This is for Cassie and Saez. Wow, was this horse very impressive in debut? Let's see who went with Time to Dazzle. I did, and that was it. Okay, let's go to Pete first. Pete, you're going with the 10. Bucho. I'd have to listen to the replay to get the name.
I watched the replays and I didn't listen to the name, obviously.
All right, that's right. For Bauer and Garcia, hit it, Pete. What do you like about the 10?
Yeah, this was a tough one. I had 7 A's as I walked through this one the first time. So
wait, hold on. Hold on.
Well, A is different than
Paul,
A is
you
different
got me up here. 6 A's, 7 A's. Make a decision. What the?
A is different than you think about it, though. A to me is who are the horses I potentially could put on. Who are the horses I really think have a realistic shot to win the race? Not like a B, not a C. This is like here's my. I think this horse has a good shot to win this race. That's how I handicapped the first run through. So I had 7 on the first line.
I'm just kidding.
So.
I'm giving you
no. I want to make sure
that
it's a different term than we generally use it though on here.
Tell me, this horse was really good last time. I honestly didn't watch the replay, but won by 4 of the 78 buyer. I mean, it was awesome.
Well, if you watch, so anytime we like a horse that, so in the debut was okay on dirt, then they tried to put the horse on turf and it was Saratoga, so it came off the turf. I'm surprised they even ran, but and again, didn't run poorly. Then they put the horse on the turf, and if you watch the race 2 back, it was a train wreck. I mean, the horse was knocked around, was shuffled back, just was sort of climbing and was completely uncomfortable the whole time and had taken money. But and it was on a good track too. So there was so many things went wrong 2 back, comes back in the next one, again, takes some money even off that sort of clunker, and then just rolls the field. And not whether it was a great field or not, but just the fact that, and it wasn't that long ago. It was the 23rd of September, but just looked super impressive, rolled by, ran like, a quality horse is supposed to. So I'm looking at that race thinking, okay, if that's the real horse and the 1-2 back was just way too much trouble for this horse to deal with, then I think that last one, if can take a step forward off that, then I think she's got a huge shot here. And again, she's 4-1. So I'm not, I'm not breaking ground here, but I just really like that last one. And I thought the 2 back was very excusable.
I'm using her. I'm concerned about the week and a half turnaround. That is a very quick turnaround.
That's quick. It's quick.
But that means the trainer has confidence too, though, right? Obviously.
That's what I think. And 2-year-old turf roots, 36%. I don't think it was a huge sample size for Phil Bauer. 73% in the money. So it's something he's comfortable with too. So hopefully he knows what he's doing. Obviously, this is this could be a stepping stone for. This is going to be a stepping stone for the Breeders' Cup. So trying to get this horse ready and get this horse in. And I think that last one just puts her right in the mix.
And I will be covering the juvenile turf fillies race for our Breeders' Cup package. So obviously I'm going to be watching this race very, very carefully. Paul, I thought this race was really tough. And I thought there was a lot of speed in this race. And that'll lead into my picks in just a second. Let's talk about your first pick. You're going with Crown Imperial, who did show the ability to close at your favorite track, Kentucky Downs, in the Untappable. It was only a $500,000 stake at Kentucky Downs. She's by Classic Empire. It's a very interesting breeding out of a Congrats filly. So this is really, Congrats is more sprinty. Very interesting breeding here. Got a 73 buyer. You're going a little bit of a price.
Yeah, Amidst Waves, Howard, is the horse. We'll know how Shads look Sunday, because Amidst Waves beat this horse twice and once very close by a nose in that Bolton Landing up at Saratoga. I thought that was a pretty good race. I thought this horse ran okay. I'm not surprised they started the horse on dirt because you mentioned the breeding. If you look at the breeding, it looks a little more dirt than turf. However, decent effort in the Colleen Stakes, very good effort in the Bolton Landing, and came from way behind to win at Kentucky Downs. So, yeah, I again, the 2 puts up an 83, could be really, really good. That was a dream trip. If you want to talk about horses maybe not getting, that was a dream trick. Sat right off. Now took the lead effortlessly, extended, didn't do anything wrong. But if you're into dream trips, the 2 got one last time. I'm going to bet that he doesn't get another one. And I thought the one Smooth Waves, not to be confused with Amidst Waves, who's running on Sunday. I thought Smooth Waves ran very well in the Kentucky Downs race last time. So, yeah, I went with the 4 as a bit of a price here. I think going to probably have to move forward a little bit off that 73, but certainly reasonable for a 2-year-old.
We're watching Time to Dazzle. This is the 2 horse, and yeah, she got a dream trip. There's no doubt about it. But boy, she really strides out well, guys. And I like the confidence that they're bringing her down here. I'm not really proud of this pick because it's not very original. But I was trying to find some originality, guys, and something sort of out of the box and unusual. And there's a lot of horses, guys, that have been sprinting or seem to want to sprint and have show a lot of speed. And I just thought Sai is going to sit a great trip, and Cassie's bringing her down, and I just think she could be very tough to beat. My crazy idea here, guys, is the number 3, Moonlight Gamble. Now, as I meant, I didn't know this horse is going to be 30 to 1. Like I said, there's a ton of speed in here. There's just, everyone's got speed. Smooth Waves has speed. Crown Imperial will be off the pace for sure. This 5 has got speed. The 6 has got speed. The 7's got speed. The 8's got speed. The 9 probably not. The 10 more tactical. The 11's got speed. It just felt like there's a lot of speed. And I'm looking for a horse that can close. I think this horse, Moonlight Gambler, 30 to 1. Send
love
it
this
in.
horse. I love this horse, Howard.
Reverse key trifecta.
I have it marked as a play already.
Oh, go ahead, Pete. Go ahead.
No, I'm with you. No, you could say it. I'm just saying I have it.
Right.
I have it as the same play. I have it as the. I don't know about the win end, but I think at 30 to 1, I love the reverse key for sure.
Totally agree. Okay, fine. 43 first time out, closed like a train into a slow pace. It was her first race against a horse that came back and won. Next time at Kentucky Downs, got a decent trip, lost to Pharaoh's Wine. It wasn't that fast. It was a very slow second quarter and slow third quarter. My feeling is look at the breeding, guys. Malibu Moon and the boys. I look at Treasured Up. Treasured Up, the dam was turf and long. That is what this horse wants to do. Again, the sibling's nothing special, to be very honest. But the dam, Treasured Up, turf and long, AP Indy with the Malibu Moon. This horse wants to go long. This horse wants to close. This horse had a month off, guys. She's been working well. She might be 30 to 1. I don't know if she's going to win, Pete. I totally agree with you. I don't know how Paul feels, but I think Moonlight Gambler is fascinating, at least underneath. And I have this horse as an A right now because if it's not the 2, it could be a lot of horses. And if they go fast, why not this one? I'm very intrigued with this horse. I really am.
I had as an A. I had as an A as well, but more as I think it would take a lot for this horse to win. I think it would have to be a complete meltdown, most likely, which there's enough speed for that to be possible. But I definitely underneath and definitely a horse to play, whether you reverse key it or just even if you just include the horse, if you're playing sort of a couple on top with a few in second and third, I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably use her as a B, but I'm definitely using her in tries, guys. And you know what? I might even throw her in a super in fourth. Why the hell not? I'm going to key this horse big time in second, very big time in third, and hope to get lucky in other spots. Let's go to the penultimate leg here, race 9. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen. This is one of the bigger ones of the day. I mean, another win in you're in. It's the Alcibiades, grade 1, 9-horse field, $600,000 for the boys. This is for the girls, excuse me. Wow, I apologize. This is for the girls. This is a prep for the juvenile fillies dirt race, of course, next month at Santa Anita. The morning line favorite, there's two powerhouses here. Number 7, undefeated, Bright Work for Ortiz, and the Ortiz, not the brothers though, not related. And the other one is Vivi's Dream for McPeak and Brian Hernandez. It's very hard for us to get past these two. We've all got these horses 1, 2. Paul, why Bright Work over Vivi's Dream, in your opinion?
Well, she's undefeated. You know, she is going around 2 turns for the first time, so the ghost of Javi Pack you have to deal with. However, you know, there are people who thought Ways and Means was the best, or going to be the best 2-year-old filly. And yes, Ways and Means got a bad start in that race, but you know what? Had the entire length of the stretch to run this horse down, and this horse beat her fair and square. I think this horse is really good. I agree that the 5 looks tough, and you know, the 5 you could argue, and maybe you will argue, has a little bit of an edge because it's run a mile, and this horse has only run 7. So, you know, this horse has to go not only around 2 turns, but further, has to go from 7 furlongs out to a mile and the 16th. But the other thing I like, Howard, this horse, this is his fifth career race, and her already run at 3 different racetracks. So she's shown versatility. She was just magnificent in the 2 races at Saratoga. I think she's the leader in the division until someone beats her. I would have thought that way. I was really looking forward to Ways and Means getting another crack at her, because I think Ways and Means probably would have been bet as much or more, and I would have bet this horse. So, look, we talk about it all the time. If you're playing the caveman, don't use the 5 and 7. Pick one and cut your ticket in half, and if you lose, you lose. I went with the 7. I certainly could see the 5.
Breeding, any concern at all going 2 turns? You see Clarendon Fancy, who is the dam, average wing distance, a little more sprinty. Siblings, quite company, okay. Turf, a little bit 2 turns. Really not much to go on. You just have to go on faith. But I mean, she's incredibly good and fast. So we'll see. She's very good, obviously. And if she handles the 2 turns, Paul, how about this horse versus the Beholder filly? What kind of
Samara? That would be good. Friday, Breeders' Cup Friday. I think we'll see that.
Pete and I are saying, let's stop talking about Bright Work, because Vivi's Dream's going to win this race. I mean, Pete, of course, I agree with you. Paul sort of touched on at least what I thought. I like the fact that she already went a mile. She did get a good trip. I didn't like the field in behind her, but she got an 88. She's worked well since. For McPeak to bring this horse back this quickly, Pete, to me shows a lot of confidence, because McPeak doesn't usually do this, bring this horse back. She did have a long break before the Pocahontas. She's got breeding on the dam side with Tappet. I respect Bright Work a lot, and Bright Work can obviously win. I'm going to go with the minor upset, and so are you.
Yeah, mostly everything you said. I think you're taking the shot, because I assume Bright Work will get, even though Vivi's Dream's last race looks pretty impressive as well, you assume Bright Work will get even bet down from that 9 to 5, I would imagine. So if you can get a little bit more of a price on Vivi's Dream, who I just think the extra distance is more up her alley than it is Bright Work. Not saying Bright Work can't get the distance. Bright Work might just be great, even stretching out. But I think Vivi's Dream, if it would have been coming right off the loss to Bright Work, then you maybe question it a bit. But coming back, running the mile, stretching out, and doing it super impressively. And again, I don't care as much if you beat a not great field, if you do it pretty handily. And she did it handily, and she demolished that field. So at least in that case, I don't worry about whether it was a lot of good horses behind or not.
Hey, Pete, we got a sidetrack, guys. Do we see who's in the chat?
Mr. Bernier.
Our good friend,
hey,
Mr. Bernier. Matt, hey, what's up, Matt? How you doing from FanDuel? Matt, thanks for joining us here in the live chat. He likes Emery quite a bit. Emery is a Cox filly by More Than Ready out of a Street Sense mare with Gaffleone and Stone Street. This horse ran huge last time in the mud, has been working very well. I see no reason why Emery cannot win. I've got her underneath, but What do you guys think about Matt's pick, Emery? Should we watch the replay? Let's watch
somebody
the replay.
somebody said in the chat Emery's not running. I don't know where that's coming.
Okay, well, we'll watch the replay anyway. She's
Yeah,
the 1A.
just in case.
Maybe Emery's running in New York. Where would she be running? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
She'd be running. But anyway, Emery's on the outside here in the Stone Street in the slop, and I'm assuming I actually didn't watch this replay, but actually it says muddy. Got a perfect trip and just rolled and won easily. Do we know where Emery's running? If she's not running,
it says they just said Faya in the chat. Just said running at Aqueduct. I'm not sure where but
okay, they would be in the what's the 2-year-old girl? Not the Demoiselle. Is it the Gazette? I don't know what's the name of that race, Paul.
I'm checking now.
All right,
to see where she's entered.
It might be tomorrow. They've got some stakes tomorrow also, but I think it's Saturday. Anyway, there's Emery right there.
She's not entered. She's only entered at this point. She's only entered in this race.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt Bernier is going to go with Emery. Guys, I want to quickly talk about my long shot. Alpine Princess. This is similar to my pick in the last race. There's a lot of speed, and I think, did you see the breeding? Paul, I thought you might like this horse a little bit. Did we see the breeding on Alpine Princess?
We did.
Classic Empire. Oh boy, there he is. Curlin on the dam side, Paul. This horse wants to run all day. And was she wide? I mean, she was really wide. She's slower right now. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're not going to watch the whole replay. But this 4 was in the parking lot, guys. Let's watch it. I like the fact that it's 7. She's right here in like the light blue. Look how wide she's got to go, guys, in this race. And it was a decent field. Nikias is a decent horse. Look at. I mean, look how wide she is, guys. She's really wide. And so she doesn't get like the best number, which is obvious because she lost a lot of ground. I like the way she ran these down. She's not as talented as the others right now, but I think she wants all of 2 turns. She's been working well. I like her grit and determination. This is sort of my Matt Bernier kind of fuzzy pick, a horse that's just coming off a win in a maiden. Looks slow, but has been working very well, guys. Look at that, 59-2, breezing at Churchill. Alpine Princess, the 6. Is my sort of upset special. And Matt, thank you, Matt. The Frisette. Is that horse in the Frisette? Maybe someone can look that up. Is that Saturday? I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, they won't enter until tomorrow, which is why she wouldn't show up in the entries.
Okay. Tom Espinosa. Hey, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Tom hopes I'm right. Alpine Princess. Guys, I think if you beat one of those 2, if you beat Brightwork or Vivi's Dream, this pick 5 is going to be, I mean, what, 90% of the tickets are going to have those 2, or 85%, whatever it's going to be,
easy.
Right?
Yep.
So if you beat those 2, wow. All right, let's go to the last race, guys. Let me take the banners off the screen as we're coming up on the golden 1 hour mark. By the way, ton of people watching live. Thank you very much. Please smash that like button. We got 18. Really? We have hundreds of people watching live. We have 18 likes.
Well, maybe they don't like it. Maybe they just watch it. Who says they like it?
Maybe they're hate watching. Yeah, they could be hate watching. Yeah, that's something.
Well, hey, I'd rather hate watching than not watching at all.
Still counts as a watch for us. Yeah, we'll take it.
By the way, Howard, I just did a quick run. McPeak starting horses on 2 to 4 weeks, and this is right in the middle, 3 weeks. He's done it in the last 5 years like 922 times. So not unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should worry less. Okay, fair enough.
You just shouldn't say he doesn't typically do it. That's all.
You're absolutely right. I doubt he does it with 2-year-olds.
Matt Miller's getting carpal tunnel syndrome from hitting the like button.
Matt just said you can only smash it once. Wait, if you hit it a second time, it actually takes away your like. So Matt, don't do it. Matt, do it in. Here's a math. This is a math thing, Matt. Okay, Matt Miller at home, you listening? Because Matt with numbers is a little shaky, right? If you hit, if you hit the like button an odd number of times, we're all good. Because if it's an even number of times, it goes back to where it started. There you go. So,
what if he goes to his neighbor's house and does it on their computer?
Sure, why not?
Just knock on people's doors and say, "Excuse me, can you log into this podcast on YouTube so I could smash the like button?" Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over well with the neighborhood.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be too weird. Okay. Oh, we got another viewer here, Paul Conlin. Excuse me, Paul
looks
Conlin.
like North Dakota.
All in Notre Dame. Wow,
North Dakota.
North Dakota, right? North Dakota. It's got to be. Sorry, Paul. North Dakota. I love it. What tracks are in North Dakota? What's your favorite?
He must like the Canterbury bread, the Canterbury horse.
No,
Not too far.
They have a track in North Dakota. I cannot remember the name to save my life. But Paul mentioned it. Paul, thanks for joining the show from North Dakota. I love it. Let's bring some more people in here. Okay. Wait, Matt Miller chimed in. He took your advice and clicked a third time. Thanks, Matt. All right. Appreciate it. Oh, wait a minute. Look at Paul. See you. Paul, it's going to be at Keeneland on Saturday.
Wow.
Paul,
nice.
hit me, Paul, if you're on Twitter, hit me up with a DM, Paul Conlin. I'd love to meet you, buy you. I hear there's some pretty good bourbon guys at Keeneland. That's the rumor. And not only that, Paul, I'm looking to one food at Keeneland. You know what it is, Paul. I think you know.
Oh,
at least
the bread pudding. I am not a bread pudding guy, but I got to tell you, it was really good. It was really good. That
is crack cocaine. That bread pudding is so damn
That's good.
Well, Paul, I look forward to seeing you at Keeneland again. Email me, Paul, or hit me up with the DM, and we'll
North Dakota Horse Park. By the way, I just found.
There we go.
That's right.
There we go.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to do that on We'll do a special episode when they're back in session. We'll do it during their next meet live. We'll do a special episode
live. Okay, I love it. That'd be Bismarck is the capital, I believe, right? I believe so.
Ding,
Bismarck.
ding, 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 ding.
There we go.
Sounds
very good at I was very good at geography. I was one of those kids that knew all the U.S. capitals cities before the other kids in the class. And South Dakota?
Pierre.
Wow.
Nice work.
Good thing I wasn't in your class, so you would have been finishing second.
All right. Let's go on to the last race of the day. Boy, we're having fun tonight. Race 10, allowance race, 1 mile, turf, 120K. Big field of 12. Paul, are there any also eligibles in this race?
Yes. We need a scratch.
Oh, Dracone. Paul partially owns Dracone. What a great win last time, Paul. It kicked my ass in the pick 5, but I couldn't have been happier for you.
21 to 1. That was a very, very good day.
Paul, is there any chance, rumors we hear that one of the horses might have a little bit of an ankle issue or might get the sniffles or something and Dracone's going to get in?
Yeah,
I've heard some rumors in the chat.
Well, the law of averages says that one of the 12 will scratch, although places like Keeneland, running for 120, it's probably 50-50 at best. And, the other thing is now you get in and you're in the 12, so which is no bargain. But you know what? That was exactly the scenario that happened at Saratoga. He was on the far outside, 12 out of 12. And, and Santana comes back. So anyway, look at 8-1, getting some respect from Nick Tamaro as well. There he is. There's the big boy.
Show the replay, right?
I'll tell you what,
there he is.
He ran this horse down. This is legit.
He did. He ran down Fredo too. So Pete, I don't know
how you feel about that.
He broke his heart.
Italian. Well, he broke his heart. Fredo was, Fredo was a traitor, so it's all right. You can run Fredo down.
Honestly, if he gets it, though, it's a tall task, Paul. This is a tougher field,
Oh, it was moving up from 1 to 2. Yeah, the 10 looks very, very tough. Although, to the Shad's point, a 90 is there's like 4 horses in the race out of the 12 who have higher than a 90. So number-wise, the 90, fits. Definitely a tough task, but not, numbers-wise, not totally unreasonable. And I'll tell you another thing, and we got to talk about other horses other than this horse, but look at the bad 2 races down, yielding the horse. He wants no part. They were going to scratch him that day. They probably should have. That's a bad race. Take that one out. First, second, first, second, first, second, second, first. Then go back to the race before that, off the turf. He wants no part of the dirt. And then you're all the way down to a 4th on the lead. So on firm turf, he's pretty good.
That was Dracone that Paul was talking
You
about.
see that the buyer since moving to Diodoro, the buyer's gone up every single race too. That's kind of crazy.
There you go, Pete. Let's go, Pete. Let's go.
It. You know what though? The only race that you named it, the only race that was a clunker was the one we were at Saratoga when I actually needed the horse to win, and he didn't run.
Yeah, that was the day. Yielding was being kind, by the way.
And I don't remember you saying when we were at the track that they were going to scratch the horse. I don't remember that little nugget coming out. So I'll just we'll let that go though.
I really like Golden Alchemist here, guys, and I like this horse a lot. I would be tempted to single this horse in the pick 5 if I had to. Ran a 90 off the layoff at Kentucky Downs. Before that, was only 2 lengths off of Emmanuel and Win from Within. 2 real nice horses, guys, in the Tampa Bay. I think that is a 4-year-old improving for Chad and Irad. Slightly concerned about the post, but he's got some tactical speed, guys, in a race that does not have a lot of speed in it. I think Golden Alchemist has the upside. I think it's a future. Well, I was going to say future stake horse. That's stupid. He already ran in a stake. I really like the upside of this horse. If they can keep him healthy, and obviously he's had some issues, guys, because he was off since February. I think Golden Alchemist is going to be really tough in this spot, especially if it's firm, which it should be. The horse I want to talk about, you, Pete, who you have actually, you have a source second. I think it's pronounced Buoys, who, by the way, was only beat your horse, Paul, by a little bit, 2 starts back. I think Buoys is better on the wet turf. At least that's what it looks like. He's European bred. He's French bred. He's run 2 bang-up races, but they are both on turf that's had some give in it. I don't know how much. It depends on the rain Thursday. To me, Pete, I upgrade this horse big time if it rains more Thursday than I think, or if the turf is good. If they don't get a lot of rain, I downgrade this horse. He can win anyway, but to me, the surface means a lot for Buoys, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And that's sort of why I put the horse in second. It was more of a second just because I think I just really kind of like the horse. I like the way he runs. I just think he's quality. And I mean, the clunker back there was 3 back when it was just a little too far back. And there was a pretty decent horse he was trying to run into up to the mark that we didn't know was as good as he was going to be at that point. But that was, and again, it's always weird when you have a turf horse that you think gets a little bit better after they leave Chad. That's always a fun circumstance. But again, I'd sort of downgraded. I'm with Matt Bernier in the chat, by the way, if you want to put that one up. I like how he's thinking right here on this one horse.
Man, Matt's been watching this show for a while here, guys. I am thoroughly impressed. Thanks, Matt, for joining us for this long. Let's talk about the one. This is not only the wonderful, let's take him off the screen there, not only Pete's pick, but Matt Bernier's pick. So hell, got to pay attention. Johnny's Fireball with an unusual 1N for Johnny. I don't know if you guys noticed that, a little bizarre. Mm-hmm. What has he done wrong? Absolutely nothing. He's got the rail. He's going to save ground. It's going to be a price. Matt loves to go after some price shopping, and he's usually very good at it. Tell us why Johnny's Fireball is going to upset this field, Pete.
Well, yeah, and he's one of those. It's got some, he's got a little bit of muddy form because he's bounced around from surface to surface and even distance to distance, surface to surface. So the form's a little muddy. On the turf, though, it's been pretty strong. 2 back. That was a pretty impressive race. Although he was, setting pretty slow fractions on a speed favoring track. So that's not the greatest thing in the world. Moves up a little bit and is running in the last one, ran against Golden Alchemist and doesn't look as great on paper, but you have to watch the race. Was checked badly. Again, this was the one I think that was actually really uncomfortable. I was thinking it was the other horse and then was blocked in the lane, but was moving. And if you watch it, was really moving and then just ran into, there were 3 horses in front. And then at that point, it was just, he was done. And he just wasn't getting there. So I think
a little bit. Let's watch. Was it in the stretch?
I mean, you can watch. You can watch the
Johnny's
5
versus the 6 is really what you want to look at here. In the stretch, you said?
So he gets sort of checked badly first, and then you could probably see that. I forget.
So Johnny,
right there. Yeah, you see right there. So that's pretty bad. Now watch him run a little bit here. And look at him. You could even watch him there, and he was just running sort of uncomfortably, kind of climbing.
Yeah.
And then you watch him.
He was literally climbing.
Literally climbing. Yeah. He's probably like, what the hell is this friggin' hill I'm trying to run up right now? I don't know what the hell is going on.
in the red. He's right here, and Golden Alchemist is in the blue right here. The 5 and 6. I'll let it run through. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, and then you'll just watch here where he tries to, and Garcia tries to eventually, it looks like he's trying to be patient and see what he's supposed to do here. And then he doesn't. Now you see he starts hitting them here.
Right
and then
here,
he just
right.
runs into, like right here, there's just nowhere to go. And it's hard to see. And then he finally gets a little bit in the lane. And now watch, he starts to move a little bit, and then he's just hung up again.
Now he gets blocked,
and he pulls back and he's blocked. So again, it's one of those where sometimes tough trips, we maybe overestimate how they would have finished with a better trip and if they would have got loose. But I'm going to take the shot at a price. Now we're getting Saez, so I'm hoping Saez will be more aggressive. If they had Garcia again, maybe I don't like him as much, but I like Saez. We got the rail, so hopefully he could work out a decent trip. And again, Golden Alchemist is way on the outside, so maybe he can run into a little bit of trouble as the favorite.
Guys, I don't feel like we need too much justification for the show, but it never hurts. How about this comment from Matt Bernier? I'm listening to your show and to you guys for winners.
Now he's drinking.
I was just going to say, I don't know. How many beers is that, Matt? How many beers
he's drinking? He's either in a hotel in Lexington drinking or he's up in Maine drinking.
I believe he's probably in Lexington by now. If I
put the bourbon down, Matt. You've had enough for the night. Take a nap.
Matt, we do appreciate
That's the
that.
best.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you want to get winners, guys, at a price, please listen to Matt Bernier on FanDuel. I mean, the guy consistently gives winners and he gives them at prices. And I'm not just saying that because he's a friend of mine. He's just an excellent handicapper and even a better guy. Matt, we appreciate all that. Pete, are you ready for some poo-poo? I'm going to throw some poo-poo at you.
I love it.
Pete loves when the poo-poo is being thrown.
Yeah.
I'll say two things. Johnny's Fireball versus Golden Alchemist. Number one, Johnny's Fireball wasn't winning that race anyway in the stretch. Number two, Golden Alchemist is going to run even better than he ran last time because he's second off the layoff. Bam.
That's not poo-poo. That's just a silly opinion that's not going to be right come Friday.
Silly.
That's all that is. Well, I mean, you didn't give any reasoning. You have no reasoning.
I just said he's second off the layoff and he's going to run huge. And Johnny's Fireball, the trouble was overrated. He wasn't winning in the stretch. What else do you want to say? People back me up in the chat. You want to go heads up, Pete? Let's go heads up with these two.
You have a 5-2 shot. I got 8-1. You got to give me some odds at least.
I'll give you a length and a half.
I want odds, meaning whatever we're betting, you pay double.
Okay.
Okay. We'll talk about it offline.
2-1. That's all good.
2-1. It should be 3, but I'll give you 2.
All right.
I will say, Pete, I will say this. You will definitely, regardless of where Johnny's Fireball wins, I promise you'll get a better ride than you did last time.
And that's all I'm hoping for, Paul.
He did get in trouble, but let's call a spade a spade. That was not a good ride.
No. That's why I said
the vaunted "let's come up the rail at Kentucky Downs" move that works out well.
Always, every single time.
He had a lot of trouble. I'm partially kidding. By the way, Noah Maher in the chat as well from Betting and Boozing. The rail on the turf is horrible. Hates to butt heads with the best of the best of Matt Bernier. Listen, he's at Keeneland. Noah, have you been running out on the grass course? We call security. We've got a young man, a college student, running out of the grass course, checking it out. I don't know if the rail's been that bad. I'll have to look at the stats. I mean, it can be bad, especially when it's wet. You don't want to be on the rail at Keeneland. I'm not sure it's really going to be that way on Friday. For me, the turf course is going to matter quite a bit after Thursday. It's about 60% chance and not a lot of rain, but it could rain a little bit. Guys, we're going to, by the way, Christopher D'Souza likes the 7, and we're not going to have time to talk about the 7. Sorry, Christopher. But that's another name as well. So is he possibly related to Sylvester D'Souza? Is this Sylvester D'Souza's nephew, cousin, brother? I don't know. If you're wondering who the hell's that, pay attention to European racing. Sylvester D'Souza. Actually, he's South American, but he rides in Europe, or at least he used to. I'm assuming he still does. Anyway, let's go on to our picks, guys. And again, Matt Bernier, thanks for joining the show. Greatly. Hey, Matt, if you're still listening, throw out a pick 5 for us. I mean, if you handicapped all the sequence, or throw us a bet. Throw a Matt Bernier best bet if you're still watching, Matt, for Friday. How's that? Or for the weekend, if you've looked at Saturday. Maybe we can get that before the show ends from Matt Bernier. All right, let's go to the banners, guys. What am I looking for? Oh, pick 5 tickets. Here we go. Let's go to who's first?
I don't like mine, so do Paul first.
All right, we'll go to Paul. Paul's late pick 5 opening day Keeneland. He is going the max $100 using Dracone also. Does Dracone make it 100? Right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
2, 4, 6, 9, 12 with 1, 4, 7, 8, 9 with 1, 4 with 7 with 9, 10, 12, 13. Paul, just off the top of your head, who would you throw in there if Dracone doesn't get in? The 1, the 5, you don't know yet?
Oh, in the last race?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I would. I do know that. If you give me 10 seconds, I have the 9. I would throw in the 5.
Buoys.
Yeah.
All right. Talk about your pick 5. You're singling bright work, Paul.
Yeah, well, you could say I'm singling bright work, and I'm taking a shot and going pretty thin in the race prior. The race prior is the Jessamine. I have my price horse, the 4, and then I went with Smooth Waves, the rail horse. Trying to beat that 2, Howard, that 2 that you like, who's going to be the favorite. So that's definitely a minefield race for me. But I think those first 2, and I think the first 2 and the last are really wide open. So in a caveman setup, I want as much coverage as I can in those 3 legs.
Not using Wayne Canelato and Maniwa. He was going to cook something nice for you on Twitter, Paul, but now you didn't pick him. I don't know.
And one thing about it, how it is, if that horse wins, you're going to get a price because he's always a price. And, hey, the horse has won 5 times, and he's won at 17-1. He's won at 12-1. He's won at 9-2. He's won at 7-1. So yeah, if he wins, you're going to get a price. I'm okay beating Maniwa. I'm more worried about the going too deep in the next race.
Pete is going 2-9-11 with 4-7-8 with 2-5-10 with 5-7 with 1-5-10 using Johnny's Fireball at the end there. The top choice for Pete and Matt Bernier. $81, Pete.
Yeah, and the problem was not singling yet in the 9th in the Alcibiades. Yeah. So I would probably, on a caveman like Paul talked about earlier, I would probably single the 5 Vivi's Dream and maybe play the 7. I would probably play Bright Work as a lone B, because I think the first, second, and last leg, and even the third, I thought 4 of the 5 legs you can go, you could go super deep if you wanted to pick one. I mean, there were ones where, like even the one Time to Dazzle, if Time to Dazzle doesn't win, it's wide open. Yeah. If a couple of these horses don't win then there's not huge favorites, but if the favorite doesn't win, it just feels like in almost every one of these races, it could get nuts. So my theory was I'm going to put the 5-7 in for the purposes of this ticket. And then I couldn't really spread in the others. So I just sort of went with my top 3 picks in the other 4 legs.
Okay. I like it. I'm looking at my ticket. I'm second guessing myself. So let me bring up the ticket I have and let me tell you what I might do differently. Because listen, you have to self-evaluate every single day. Here's my initial pick 5 ticket thoughts: 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 11, with 2, 3, 8, 9, with 2, 3, with 5, with 5, 9, 10. It's $72. I'm thinking Vivi's Dream. Let me ask you guys a question just in general. Whether you agree with this handicapping or not, let me ask you an important question. What I'm thinking about doing is going 3 deep in the Alcibiades because it's 2-year-olds, and singling Golden Alchemist in the last race because it's an older horse that is in theory more consistent. How do you feel about me going deeper in a 2-year-old race and singling in a race with more experience? You guys even think about that at all? Because I do. And I might just do that on Friday. Thoughts on that ticket construction concept?
I agree.
You're talking about going deeper in the Alcibiades or in the Jessamine?
Going deeper in the Alcibiades, going 3 deep in the Alcibiades, like 5, maybe throw like 5, 6, 7, throwing the Alpine Princess in there, or maybe throwing Matt Bernier's horse in there. Instead of going 1 by 3, Paul, go 3 by 1 and just go for it with Golden Alchemist, who I think is going to run a monster race. And in theory, you can trust more than a 2-year-old filly going 2 turns who's never done it before. That's my.
I think
that's what I want to throw out to the audience there to talk about.
I have an answer. I think in theory, I think that's good thinking. In this sequence, I don't like it only because I think even 2-year-olds or not, I think there's a high likelihood either Bright Work or the 5 wins that race.
Right, and it's going to be but we didn't talk about the odds that much, guys. I think it's more like 7-5, 8-5. I think those two are both going to be under 2-1 for sure.
Yeah.
But
in theory, though, I'm with you. I'm with you in theory.
Or like 5-1, right? Is the next one. I'm not sure who. So anyway, I just want to bring that up. There's a lot of people commenting. What's your general thoughts? Let me take this off the screen. We'll end the show. General thoughts, comment here to end the show. Should I or should any handicapper think about the class level, the age of the horses, and single horses that are more consistent and more honest, I suppose, than singling on a flyer, even though the horse is really talented, you don't know what they're going to do because they've never been 2 turns or whatever. Do you folks at home think about that? Do anyone with any thoughts on what you do that? Let me see what people have here. Charles V said you can't trust a McPeak single. I'm not really sure why, but okay, doesn't like McPeak. That's fine. Let's see what else here. Let's see. Matt Miller, he chimes in. I like that. If you are alive to a pick 6 with a strong single, you can easily hedge that with your other 2 picks, depending on payout, which you will have the benefit of knowing. So Matt likes the idea of singling in the last race because you can hedge easier. But you know what, Matt? Some people don't like to hedge either. So, Pete, you're not really a hedger, are you?
Well, it depends how much. It depends how much I've done it before. It depends how much the payout is, and like if there's a couple horses I'm scared of, and I have like a bunch of horses and maybe a last leg to close something out, I'll put those other horses on top of mine just in case, which I've done that before. Yeah.
Okay. Richard said I should leave it because it's my original thought. Coming as a teacher, I would agree. You always go with your first thought. In looking at it, I don't think the 9 has as good a chance as the 10 in the last race at all, now that I look at it. And I'm not playing a caveman anyway. But anyway, I really like Golden Alchemist, not because it's the last race. I think if he runs his race, despite the replay we watched, Pete, where Johnny's Fireball definitely had some trouble, I think Golden Alchemist with a trip and IRAD is a likely winner, and I think
I think your theory makes sense. I just think it's tough because if it's a 2-year-old race where there's a clear standout, like if Bright Work or Vivi's Dream were in this race alone, then maybe I would say you could still stick to a single there, and you'd have a little bit more confidence. Maybe going head to head, you don't if you're singling one of those. I think it's all circumstance. I don't know. By the way, did you read your ticket for the audio folks? I don't remember if you read it. Or not.
I did. Yes.
Did you read it? Okay, I just didn't remember. Okay.
No problem. Main focus that it's a case by case. Once again, before we get your final thoughts, guys, and end the show, banners, Keeneland Power Picks. Paul, why don't you talk about the Power Picks, and then Keeneland, you can talk about, or Keeneland, and Pete, you can talk about the morning shows real quick. Paul, 30 seconds on our Keeneland Power Picks.
Yeah, we're going to duplicate what we did at Saratoga on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll give you our top 3 in each race and couple of exotic suggestions, maybe a pick 5. I think we're going to try to include the all-turf pick 3, Howard, yes. Right? So yes. Maybe one of the pick 5s and a pick 3, maybe both pick 5s. Some other plays that we like, a double here or there, and, you got to make your own plays, but we'll give you plenty to think about in those races.
Yes, and go to our website for that, hhhracingpodcast.com. And then we are starting our morning shows. Pete, I'm going to be traveling, of course, to Keeneland along with Kyle Roscoe. Noah Maher is going to be there, so the 3 of us will probably not be on the morning shows. But I think you're going to be hosting both the morning shows, Saturday and Sunday for Keeneland today.
Yep, Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Join us live on Saturday. Paul, it's going to be me and you, right? Are you confirmed?
I'm good for Saturday, Pete. Yeah, Sunday could be an issue because I got a standing 11 a.m. Gym thing with my daughter that I think I have to do.
Well, actually, we have Charlie Freeman from Betting and Boozing lined up, so you don't even have to worry about it, Paul.
All right, so I'm in on Saturday. Good.
So, yeah, join us in the chat. We'll be there. And I think Saturday, because we're covering because we're covering Saturday's late pick 5 on our flagship Thursday show, we're covering the early pick 5 on Saturday for Saturday's races at Keeneland. And then we're doing the late pick 5 on Sunday, which includes the rousing victory of Shards that we are expecting. So, and a decent race with, Nest and Idiomatic and a couple other good horses, but we're not really concerned about that one.
And Thursday's show, Caleb Keller from FanDuel will be here live. He's been on the show before to help us handicap.
Right.
And then tomorrow night, Benton Boozin and those boys are covering big card at Belmont this Saturday. Wow, we got a lot going on. Final quick thoughts, Paul, on Keeneland starting or anything else in your world?
Well, I love it, Howard, because now it really makes the time fly to BC 2-3. Which is in today is 28 days. It's in 32 days.
1 month,
is
Paul.
Breeders' Cup Friday.
Yes, sir. And
November
speaking of that, there's one other thing. I'm going to find it because Matt Miller said something in the chat that here it is. Look at the bottom of the screen, guys. Oh boy. BC started taking entries today. Buy those BC seats, $500 minimum deposit is a $10,000 seat, or you can try to qualify. Pete, final thoughts for Keeneland, anything in your world, and we'll end the show.
Nothing exciting here. Just happy for another week where we're going to get some great Breeders' Cup races. And I mean, there's nothing better than figuring out, okay, who looks good, because this is going to come in and be a key part of our Breeders' Cup handicapping. What happens this weekend and what happens next weekend and what happens at this Keeneland meet and what happens across the country. So nothing better than the lead into the Breeders' Cup, and let's get some great horses running.
I am thoroughly excited for my trip down to Keeneland, guys. I love Keeneland Racecourse. Get to see Noah Maher also in person, get to see Shards run. The Bears suck. The Cubs are out of the playoffs. Let's go to Keeneland. Not much else on the Chicago sports front to worry about, so I am very excited. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a great show. For my co-host, Paul Halloran and Pete Visco, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, and for Matt Bernier as well, who joined us in the chat. This has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 294 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Crush your bets. All meet at Keeneland Racecourse in beautiful Lexington, Kentucky. See you guys Thursday night or Wednesday night on Bet and Boozin'. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.